Hi, the Mudbrooker here. We're coming up on apple season, so I'm going to show you how to make homemade caramel. Now for those of you who may be tempted to jump into the comment section and pompously proclaim it's pronounced caramel, leave now. Go on, get. Now for the people who are left behind, I'm going to show you how to make caramel. I'm not going to actually make caramel apples, but this is the important part anyway. What you'll need, first of all, the most important ingredient to any recipe, Irish whiskey. God damn, you gotta love them Irish. Anyhow, you'll need a heavy pan, ideally the bottom of a cast iron Dutch oven, but any good heavy pan will do. Now the recipe calls for 8 tablespoons of butter. A nice little trick is to butter the sides of your pan, about halfway up or so, before you start cooking with the butter you're going to use, and that helps to keep it from sticking once we start to boil. 8 tablespoons of butter, 4 cups of sugar, 1 cup of milk, 2 cups of evaporated, not sweetened condensed, evaporated milk, out of the way, 1 cup of corn syrup, light or dark corn syrup, it doesn't really matter. Get out of there. And where'd it go? A pinch of salt. Start this off on medium heat, and we're going to bring this to a boil. Get everything dissolved, all the sugar melted and everything dissolved together. Then once it starts to boil, we will come back and I'll show you something more. Okay, I have been stirring this constantly while the sugar dissolves and the butter melts, and we are just now coming to a boil, cooking it over medium heat. What I want to do now is reduce this to medium-low and keep stirring. I can hear the objections. Some of you are out there screaming, you never ever stir caramel. It will crystallize the sugar, turn it into a lumpy, grainy, hard mass. This caramel is the exception to that rule. And there's a good reason for it. And believe it or not, I have already shown you what that reason is. Maybe when I get back later, I will tell you what that reason actually is. Anyway, you're going to want to stir this continuously, and you are going to be here for a while. This takes about an hour from this stage until the time it's done. So you're going to want to have a stool and something to drink, or maybe a partner to relieve you every now and then and take over the stirring duties. Do not, under any circumstances, be tempted to turn the heat up and try and hurry the process along. If you do that, and even if you cook it to the right temperature, the caramel doesn't want to set right. It tends to be way too soft. Now I'm going to turn the camera off and cook this for a while, and I'll come back later and show you something. Alright, I've been boiling and stirring this for about a half an hour now, and it's finally starting to look like boiling caramel. When you first start off, this just looks like milk and sugar, but let me zoom in a little bit here. You can see this is actually starting to look like something. We still have a long way to go. The temperature you're looking for is 246 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you're using the drop test, where you drip a little bit of the caramel into a glass of extremely cold water, you want to cook this to the firm ball stage. That means when you drop it into the water, it forms a ball that doesn't lose its shape when you take it out. Not quite hard, but pretty solid. Anyway, I will be back when this is ready to go. We still have, like I say, we still have a ways to go for the temperature. It's got to cook down for probably another 15-20 minutes at least, if not more. Alright, I have been stirring and boiling this for 1 hour and 8 minutes. As you can see, it's gotten quite thick and it's turned a beautiful caramel color. We have also reached the desired temperature. And here, make sure we've reached the desired temperature of 246 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me double check here just to make sure. Oh yeah, we're good. So now we can turn the heat off, take it off the heat, and let it cool down for about 10 minutes. Until it's at least below the boiling point of 212. And at that point I will add about 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Now I mentioned earlier there's a reason why I can stir that without it turning into a rock hard crystallized mess. The reason for that is the corn syrup. The corn syrup prevents it from crystallizing and you end up with caramel like this. I'll be back in a few minutes once this is cooled down enough to add the vanilla, and we'll get down to the final steps. Okay, this has been cooling down for a while, and it's cooled down enough that when I add the vanilla, it's not going to immediately boil off. So I'll give that exactly yay much, about 2 teaspoons, and stir that in good. Doesn't that look nice? It's just such a beautiful color. Let me get out of the light so you can see it a little better. But once you got your vanilla stirred in, if I was going to make carameled apples, I would chill the apples good and let this sit a while longer and cool down more. It's kind of a judgment call, but you want the caramel cooled and thickened enough that it's not just going to run off the apple. And this is still pretty warm, as you can see, kind of runny yet. It's thick, but it's runny. So what I'm going to do now instead is I'm going to pour this into, let me tip the camera up a little bit so you can see, pour this into a buttered dish. This is a pretty good sized dish, so this will be thin, it'll cool off fast, and you want to be careful doing this so you don't scald yourself with really hot caramel. Get in there. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Try and get her all. It wants to stick inside of there. Okay, that's pretty good. Set that aside. And we'll let this cool down until it firms up. Okay, this has had time to cool off, and I've taken a little bit out of the corner to get started. If you want to make individual candies out of this, just take a little bit out, roll it into a ball. Ooh, that's still a little sticky. Look at that. Ooh, that's fantastic. Roll it into a ball, dust it with powdered sugar, and wrap it up in wax paper. Or if you're a savage like me, you can just take a little chunk out of there whenever you feel like eating and leave it right in the pan. Once you have made caramel like this, you will never go back to using store-bought caramel to make caramel apples or just to eat. One word of warning though, this will stick to most dental work. If you have dentures, partials, bridge work, something like that, you're probably going to want to take them out first because this stuff will take them out. That's okay though, you don't need teeth to eat this. Thanks for watching.